Hello there, I thought I'd do an update video for you, so here we go. We've just had the 2 Down EP come out recently, which some people loved, some people fucking hated it, and it's kind of... it was always going to be a bit like that, and we spent quite a while on that, like a lot longer than we thought we were going to spend on it, and got really deeply entrenched in that record. Something totally different for 2 Down, and you might not like it, you might like it. It's just something we wanted to try, and I'm really happy we tried it because it will change the way we write music. I don't think we will write something like that again, because it was raw, it was all first takes, it was all spur of the moment stuff, and we are slightly more considerate than that normally, but we wanted to test ourselves, we wanted to do something really different. I think we did that with that EP. Two varying results, you know, some people liked it, some people again fucking hated it, and that's fine, that's art and that's what it's supposed to do. So that's out now. I haven't got a copy right here, but you can go and find a copy. There's like physical copies on Her, which is the first time we're doing cardboard releases of the copies. There's actually going to be 2 records out relatively soon. Older records are going to be re-released in cardboard physical form that have a couple of extra songs on each, which is quite interesting. It's the first time we would have done that. Hopefully ready for Christmas, but we're trying. Yeah, while I'm at it, there's a load more merch coming out soon. It's not there yet, but it will be out soon. Some out now, but we've got we've got 2 new suppliers in the States, both of which are, I think, really good quality compared to what we were shipping a few years ago. That everything's far better now, and at a really relatively competitive price compared to what we were able to offer before. And it's your kind of, it's not standard stuff really. It's actually high end, because we're picking high end garments and hats and stuff rather than the base level, because the base levels just don't last. And where we can, we're embroidering, and puffed embroidery as well, like really nice 3D puffed embroidery, where we can, because it just lasts and it looks really good and stands out, and it makes a difference. So there's going to be a few videos on that before Christmas, and you'll be seeing some stuff on Instagram and everywhere about the merch. And all that stuff is such a dirty word, merch. So for those of you who don't know, we've skipped a record this year. It doesn't mean I won't come back to it, but we've skipped Z3. So we're moving straight on to Z4. I finished tracking vocals for 2 weeks ago. Last week. End of last week. No, beginning of last week. I can't remember. A while ago. And it's being mixed right now, and it's got a mastering date just around the corner. Then we'll have the Z4 event, which will be just after Halloween this year, and we're looking to... it's going to be the first one where I'm genuinely worried about... I don't want to say that. I don't want to say anything incriminating. I'm worried about people getting too into it. I had all these ideas last year for what these events would be, and they've evolved so quickly and fastly and viciously, and I just want it to be something memorable, and it will be fucking memorable. We're opening up, there's a few more people coming this year than there were the last year's Z2 event. So we're swapping things around. So what was going to be the Z3 event will be the Z4 event, like the same venue and event and actors and all that stuff. Then the Z3 event, when it gets released, you know, will be the big finale. Weird, I know, chronologically, but it will make sense hopefully eventually. Because also the end of Z3 was kind of the end of the story, and I didn't want to give the end of the story away before you heard what was going on in Z4. So there was a little bit of method to that. Mental madness. What's wrong with me today? It's a deep question. What else has been going on? There's something... How can I just say it? So you know that there's a Z book. You know that's happening. 2 months ago, I went to town to London to have a meeting with a production company about creating an audiobook version of, and they're a very successful audiobook company who you may know if you know. I'm not going to say the name, but if you may know them. I'm not going to say the name because it's still out there. There's two now. Because the book now has a publisher as well, which is slightly different. Whereas before we were going to solo it and just do it as Hurt and just find a bookbinder to make like a small run of like 100 books. Now there's may be a publisher involved, which will mean we can't do it through this audiobook service, and instead we'll have to do it through the publisher. In which case we'll still do an audiobook. We may even do it here, I don't know, of me reading, this book. But before that happens, and before the book comes out, which will be next year for sure, it's not going to come out this year is what I mean by that. It'll be before the middle of next year. When Z4 comes out, when Z3 comes out, I'm getting confused now. It will be with that, that will be the end of that series. But I want to give some excerpts out. I really like the idea of getting people involved with that now, because I know there's a lot of people who are so ready for like the meat of the story, and which is great because having Z4 first is going to has already illuminated everyone again into this. The amount of correspondence in the last month, I think it coincides with some game releases, to be fair, but it's been ridiculous. Like, I mean, the amount of traffic we've had on Hurt, let alone like social media outlets, people just asking questions, these people's names from like 2 years ago, 3 years ago that I don't know. Like, I don't know any of these people anyway. And a huge like internet people like asking how the records are going. I'm thinking, where the fuck were you last year before there was a game that I know shit about? Where the fuck were you? Like, there's an annoying side to that shit, but also I quite like it. Like, it's nice to. What I like is that there are these big people who have such sharp focus on everything I do. And that sounds really arrogant. It sounds like I'm loving that. But what I love is that and two of them, almost three of them now, because there's another guy who emailed me a few days ago. But there's a few of them who are so intrinsically wanting to know about my story, which is something I didn't really think was going to be a thing. I thought, okay, they're just trying to pump me for other information, for other things I'm still involved with and then now own. But I'm not, I'm not a practicing, say Mormon then, YouTuber anymore. I haven't been for years, by the way. Like when the last game came out, was it Black Ops, what are we on now? So 3? I didn't play that for shit. Like I played it once. That was it. I didn't know if I played it. I didn't even know if I played Let's Play Zombie Chronicles. Maybe once again, twice, I don't know. I was told when to leave zombies, and I left when they told me to leave. And I rejoined back when they told me to rejoin back. And now, as really funny as in the last 2 months, there's been so many videos and so much speculation about shit I said years ago. I mean, years ago. So now with all the stuff I know now, I'm thinking I want to make a video now there's going to be a time bomb in the next 3 years. Like, I just want to leave little time bombs everywhere. And so I've actually started that process, but I'm interested in that because it is something that it's something to look forward to. Like, it's something. It's like I create something so specific that it doesn't make any sense until you have the prerequisite information in the future, and then it pays off. And it's like a little bit of solace when that happens, and it's something to look forward to and there's so much shit from before, and now you're getting into 9 and Classified, like, which is going to come out soon. You'll see some of this shit come to life, and I'm like, oh, it's like it's like an interesting moment when this stuff, I mean, it happened the last, when we're talking about Black Ops and Black Ops 2, it was happening in Black Ops 3 again. Like, I do it every single time, and it feels effortless. And it's something that I really enjoy, because it makes no sense until you have the information, and it's something that a lot of people like. So, but the response to the Zed storyline, that's the last thing I want to talk about, is the response to this, because this is something I dreamt up 8 years ago, something like that. And to now have it come full circle into this huge thing and be talked about in all over the world in different languages, and people are dissecting what's going on. And when the book comes out, like I'm proud of where we're at now. Like it took a long time to get back to here. You know, and while the YouTube stuff was going on, there was, you know, faux ego and all that stuff, like trying to, people don't understand when you're a YouTuber, you have to be entertaining. I'm not an entertaining person beyond, you know, I was drugged and drunk for I was drunk through most of the YouTube stuff I did. To try and be more entertaining, and I was drinking a lot anyway, to be fair, but to be more entertaining. And you know, people then kind of got used to that ego and that eccentricity, and I love that. Like that was part of what that was. But people, I think, are now realizing that it was entertainment, and it wasn't particularly real. Is not the right word, because it was real. Like what I was saying was real. Just maybe those things were extremely heightened by various things, and you know, it's what it is. But I feel like I'm rambling now. It's babble. But I'm looking at the Z4 list now. I really want to talk about these songs. I'm not going to though. Oh, the last thing, I've started getting into artwork. This is so off topic, but I've started getting into art. Like making art. There's actually one behind you right now, which I made a few years ago. But I'm doing like acrylic art. And I don't know if you ever see any of this shit, to be honest. Maybe it'll be an artwork for a future like Quiet One release or something. But I've just given 10 artworks to a children's hospital in Surrey, which I've wanted to do for a long time. You know, donated these because just to brighten up the place. And it's the first time I'm like seeing my art hung up, not properly. I mean, it's in like a waiting room and a ward, but like it's like a little proud moment. And I was talking about it someone the other day, and they're like, you sell records and you do all this shit, and you're happy when someone hangs up a photo. I am, or not a photo, like a painting. I am happy because I never really thought I could do art, as in, you know, artistic, you know, like painting and all that stuff. I didn't really think I could do any of that shit. And I thought if I could do it, it's going to be like black and greys and like, and a lot of the shit was like that, and the personal stuff I kept is very dark. It's very me. But the stuff when I tried to create like brighter stuff, I'm really interested in that now, and so I've been doing that. It's been really nice doing the Z4 vocals, then going out, and I've got like a little studio set up now, so I can come and go into this studio, do this, and then have solace, like away doing something completely different, because I was losing my fucking mind between Z1, Z2 and Z3. I lost the plot. Like back in March or whatever it was, I wrote this huge thread on Twitter about like the day I snapped, and I just totally snapped. And it was literally before that moment I never believed in mental health, never believed in anything, but I was piling fucking work down. I was having my own job anyway, then I was doing all of this, and it felt like this fucking volcano shit. And just one day just snapped. I remember sitting here with my friend Dan, writing a synopsis for a music video, which still would never made. And I kind of put me off music videos, but we wrote this thing for a music video. I sat there looking at the words and like looking at what we've written. I just remember everything like getting small, and I told him, I just said to him, I just looked up and I said, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out, you gotta go, get the fuck out. I didn't know what was going on, I couldn't focus, couldn't do anything. I just told him to get away because I wanted to hurt. I just wanted to just like go fucking mental, basically. And so I kind of had months of downtime, and it was literally the day after we started the 2 Down EP that started to happen. That kind of wind up to that point happened. It was the 15th of Feb when we started the 2 Down EP, the first live stream, I believe. It was around then anyway. And literally the day after we started Let Go, the first part of Let Go, how it is now was exactly how it was all those months ago. I didn't want to change it. I didn't want it to be mixed. I wanted it to sound raw and fucked up, and it sounds raw and weird because it was a first take and was almost scat vocals, but it stayed, and I just wanted it to be this little frame of time before I went different, and I wanted it to exist for what it was. So listening to Let Go is kind of really odd for me now, because it's like hearing two different people in the same song, for me anyway, because I couldn't pick up a guitar, I couldn't write music, couldn't think about coming here. This place, when I came back to here, there were cobwebs, literally like fucking Halloween decoration, like cobwebs, like dust and shit. I couldn't, it was months until I got back in there, and I'm glad I did, because Z3 is raw as fuck, and Z4 is something that only I think a madman can make. And while I think I'm better now, Z4 feels like something so fucked up. Like from how I remember writing it and stuff, felt so fucking fucked that I can't relate to it now. So again, it's like this little time capsule of oddities, like put together that would now exist forever. So I'm glad I got back in here while I was still manic, because I wanted to record myself manic, and Z4 is fucking manic. But I'm glad that I got through that and got out the other end. Anyway, I'm rambling and have been for a while. I apologise about that. Thank you so much for all of you who've supported me. Oh, seriously, like, you don't know how humbling it is every time a record comes out and we get that response, that surge of people. To see, what was it before? The Game of Thrones cover on the front page of iTunes, like, to see the 2 Down EP and the rock listings, like, it blows my mind every time. For Z4, when it comes out, if you know, whatever we can do to get that wherever we get it, I mean, you guys are at it. You guys are doing it without me. Like, the power behind her, the lovely social team we've got. Thank you to all you guys. You guys are fucking immense. Thank you to the street team. You guys are just beautiful and put up with me in my weird ways. And by the way, I check that shit every fucking day. I know I don't talk every day, but I do check that shit like multiple times a day. And to everyone else who supported me, and you know who you are, and I love you. Thank you very much for all that you've done. And I can't wait for you to hear some fucked up shit really soon. Because next year, we're either going really fucked up with some Daya too, or we're going to go quiet. Bye.